Dear friends, welcome back. In this video, I'd like to write an efficient port scanner. Although I've already coded port scanner, but that one is not effective if we want to scan full range ports. It will take a very long time to finish. So this code I am going to write will be using the threading module and semaphore signal. Semaphore can allow us to limit the numbers of the threads, and such threads can be executed concurrently. If we utilize the threading and the semaphore, the multi-threading will not so complicated. So I think you know what I mean when we get there. Before we go ahead, if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel and leave a like below. You're greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's just get started. We can switch over to Kali Linux VM. I've already opened up the PyCharm. So let's begin. The first module I'd like to import is threading. Next, I'd like to import a Q module. So this module can allow us to share the information across different threads. In this case, I will use Q module to store open ports. Okay. The next module I'd like to import is OPT pass. So this module can help us to process arguments. Next module I'd like to import is data time. So this can, calculate the time of running. Next, I'd like to import sys module, which can, sometimes can control a program when necessary. Okay. So I think that's all modules we should import. Okay. If not, afterwards we can import. Okay. So in this video, I will use the OOP or object-oriented programming method. So class my TCP port scanner. And the first method, as always, would be init. And just now, we just put a pass keyword. Later, we will come to this method to write specific piece of code. The next I'd like to write is params. If you have already followed my channel, I always use this naming convention. So this method will process arguments specified by the user. Okay. Pass. Next would be the major method. And for now, we just use a pass keyword. Next, we can make conditional statement lim main. So, of course, the following code will not be executed if the program is imported into other file. Okay, I think you know what it means. And the scanner is my TCP port scanner, and the scanner run. So now maybe we need to put another blank. So first of all, we need to process the parameters or arguments specified the user, and the parser would be, we need to instantiate the class of option parser and usage. And we can, so the first argument would be the target, and then should be ports. This would be individual port or port range. And next would be the threads or the maximum threads. Okay, the first element in the argue list would be the program name or file name, sys archive. And we can add option. The first option would be target, the short and the long name target, and destination would be target, and the type would be string. And also we can put the help message, specify target to scan. Next, we can add the second option or arguments, the P ports, and the destination would be ports as well. Type, this case because in most cases user will specify the port range rather than individual port number. So here would be string rather than integer, and help specify ports or port range. Okay. Next, we can specify the threads. And threads test and threads, and the type would be integer, and we can give the default value 5, and help specify maximum threads. Otherwise, sometimes the machine will be dead. If open up the threads, too much threads at the same time, the machine will be dead. So I think next we can, options, arguments, parser, and if target, if a user doesn't specify target properly, it's long, or options ports is long, and then we can print out the usage, and then we can exit from the program. Okay, and if not, then we can return the tuple or list options target options would be ports, and then options and threads. Okay, so now we can come to init method. So self target would be self get parameters, the first element, and the second one would be self port range, self get. But of course, I think we need to convert the string to the port list. Okay, and this would be easier to to handle afterwards. I think you will know what I mean. Port the self, the maximum threads would be self get parameters. Okay, so next, before we go on, I'd like to code the method port list and ports. So if comma in ports, and then the port list would be ports split by comma, and this would be list, and then we can for I in, and then we need to convert to integer. So something like that, this the user specified the port number ports like this, 20, 21, 80. Okay, I think you have really got my idea. Next, if the hyphen in ports, it means that like this. So the user specify the range rather than individual ports. So in this case, would be port list. Oh, I think the start port would be ports split by hyphen, and end port would be split by hyphen as well. Of course, we can convert to integer. Okay. Else, maybe just oh, sorry, I forgot to. We need to generate the port list. So the port list in this case would be I in, I for, I in range, start port number, end port number. Okay, so that's it. If the user just specify one single port, and also we want it to be list, and like this one, ports, and then we can return this port list. Okay, so I think in this case we can utilize the self port list, and then we can give this as parameter. Okay, so this case would be like this one, just 80. Okay, so next also we can create instance for the queue, would be queue module, and we'll put open ports into the queue. Okay, and also we need to specify the semaphore and threading semaphore, and we can set the maximum number of the threads. Okay, also we can print some message. Now start to scan target, and we can self target. So now we need to define the port scan method for individual port, def port scan, and we need to give also the semaphore. This would be the signal, and any thread gets a semaphore, the thread can be executed. Okay, so we can with semaphore, and then we can try pass, except if there is any error, for example, like it's not connected, something like that, we just pass, will not do anything. Finally, pass. And next we need to utilize the socket module, socket socket IPv4 family, address family socket, sock string, TCP. And also we can set the timeout to like 1/2 second. And finally, whatever happen in the end, we can close this, this socket. So next, we can try to connect, and we should give a tuple, self target, and port number. And the response or result will be saved into this variable. And if it's 0, means the port number is open. So then we can put the port number into the queue port. So I think that's it for the port scan method. Now we come to the major method or run method for port in self port range. And then we can instantiate the thread, and the target would be self port scan, and the arguments would be port and also self. Maybe we do not need to pass Semaphore, and then we can start. Okay, and also we can calculate the time which is required by this program. So start time is data time now. And in the end, if self queue empty, it means that nothing in the queue. So we can print out the message, no open port on the target. Otherwise, we can print the following ports are open on the target. Okay. Next, we can while self not self queue empty. Then we can print out maybe, and would be self queue get. Okay. And also we can get the end time, data time now. So print scanning is completed in, and then we can minus start time. So I think that's it. If no error here, hopefully, don't worry, we can run it. We can Python. Oh, sorry. I think if we didn't specify target, will give us the usage. So I will use the Metasploit 2, which is on the same network as my Kali Linux. So the IP address of the Metasploit 2 and port range, we can, for example, from 1 to 10,000, and the threads we can set to like 10 Oh, we got an error. Don't worry. Start port number. So this should be the first element. The second element. Let's run it again. No error. As you can see, we successfully made scanning against the target. And such scanning is very, very quick. If you do not use the threading or multiprocess module, this will take a very long time to finish. Even we do the full range port scan. And also we can set the threads to 20 or 30. This scanning can also be finished within very short time. All right, as you can see, the scanning is completed in 17 seconds. So that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you in the next one. Bye. Have a nice day, please.